Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm here with Kaiser on the couch today to talk to you about a few things that are taking place in and around today, June 25th, in the year of our Lord 2025. And it seems the media just cannot stop telling falsehoods and intimating that the Operation Midnight Hammer was not a success when all points show that it was a tremendous success. And we applaud what happened during the takeout of these nuclear facilities. And the media can say all they want that it did not accomplish what they said it would accomplish. They have no way of knowing this. They're basing it on the fact that one person has come forward and said there may still be some viability to these plants, especially the Fordo plant that was decimated. And it's almost aggravating to a point where CNN, being the biggest liar of them all, are followed in lockstep by MSNBC and the like to drive home points to where a Trump win can never happen, no matter how great or how well planned it is, because the Trump derangement syndrome in the Democratic Party, which controls the propaganda media outlets that we have to listen to here every day, it's incredible on what the links that they will go through to get the people that are of lesser intelligence to come on and promote falsehoods. And that's what they're doing. Let's just take a look at an example right here.
But the question is whether or not the calm can remain when the regime that is still there, who wants death to America, death to Israel, stays in place. And that is part of the discussion, right?
You know, the fake news like CNN.
Yes, absolutely part of the discussion. And, you know, I remember, Dan, at one point being in Tehran years ago, and they're chanting death to America all around me, even as I say, oh, I'm an American reporting for CNN.
CNN is scum.
So those two is sort of jarring realities of the chant, and yet the friendliness the friendliness have existed together.
They don't know what they're doing. Do you understand that?
Wonderful. Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's almost a shame that they cannot let this man have a win, but then that Democratic Party will tell their propaganda machine that we cannot let him have a win here in any way, shape, or form, because he is everything we don't like. And do they have a plan? Can they come up behind it with a better plan? Can they stop leaking information through the media to our enemies across the world? This is what's taking place here. This is the reason why Congress could not be notified, because you have a bunch of people in there, and mostly foreign-born people that hate America, that are sitting in seats of our Congress, that will not accept Donald Trump as their president, nor will they accept the Constitution as the law of our land, because they're not pro-Constitution, our Constitution. They would rather stand behind the criminals and the people that have been let in the border illegally, that are, in some cases, murderers, rapists, and the like. You've heard this over and over again, but yet they continue to protect the guilty and turn their backs on the innocents in this country. And it's almost a crime that we have let Satanism into our Congress, and that is what has taken hold in our Congress today. and some of our politicians that will sooner do the devil's bid rather than bow to our God that this Constitution was formed upon. And it's a shame. But that brings us to the question of why the Democrats always use crime and violence to drive home their socialistic agendas and anti-Christian views that they have in their government seats that they're trying to bring into mainstream acceptance. This is a very dark side of our Congress right now. And please, the voters in these states that put these people up for election need to come to the realization that they may have made a mistake with these people. And that it's a crime, but it's always about violence with these people. They cannot win any other way than fear, and bringing fear upon our population, fear of the violence that they will promote, and in some cases raise money to make sure it happens in a city near you, to get their socialistic views across. And their anti-Christ actions will not be tolerated much longer in the United States, and we have spoken last November. Let's just take a look right here.
What do you say to those who claim you're using a 200-year-old law to circumvent due process?
An old law? Not as old as the Constitution. We still pay attention to that, don't we?
And I also took this as an opportunity to again flex on MAGA and let them know that I will always be smarter than you.
Did you use the word smart? Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word. There's nothing smart about you.
Get this man out of here now. But if that doesn't happen, and we're not promoting it for 1 second, but if that doesn't happen, there will be violence. There will be violence. And we're not promoting it for 1 second, but if that doesn't happen, there will be violence.
I choose violence.
As our brand new CNN poll this morning shows that the Democratic Party's favorability is at an all-time low in this CNN poll. It's just 29%.
That's a shame.
It's a 20-point drop since 2021.
That's a shame.
Oh, that's too bad. What a shame.
Yeah, it is. It's a damn shame.
1,405 days, y'all. We got this.
Well, speaking of people like this in Congress and the violence and the push for violence and the push for impeachments and the pushes for making Donald Trump something that he is not, and not applauding anything good that's come out of this 6 months of his re-entrance into the presidency of the United States, with all of the accomplishments that have been made up until this point. He gets no credit for any of this, and they continue to promote hate and violence across this nation. And we need to know why Cory Booker, Hakeem Jeffries, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, and that idiot with the cane, Green, that is once again putting up articles of impeachment. And I'd like to know why he's allowed to walk around in Congress with a legitimate weapon. He doesn't use that cane to walk. It's always being held up like a club. And that ought to indicate to you that he's a violent man. And something is going to happen with that cane before too long, unless he is primaried the heck out of there. Let's take a look at Mr. Booker.
Do you believe that Democrats have any real evidence that anyone in the administration profited off of the president's policies and announcements, or is this just a fishing expedition?
You know, here's the problem with Donald Trump and congressional Republicans is our whole system was designed to have checks and balances. Now, Trump has designed an administration like none we've ever seen before. He is attacking the very agencies that are supposed to have independent oversight of these kind of actions. So we see him hiring people based upon their loyalty, not based upon their expertise.
But is there any evidence, Senator? Do you think there's any evidence that anyone profited off of these tariffs?
There is enough of an offense here. There's enough smoke here that should demand congressional hearings. We are a separate and equal branch of government. The Constitution lays out very clearly that Congress is not supposed to be spineless and submissive. It is supposed to hold up oversight over the president.
You mean there's no evidence that Donald Trump did what he said he was going to do on Liberation Day, which was lay out these tariffs? Then a bunch of countries come back and say, okay, we're coming to the table. The market starts freaking out a little bit because they don't know how many countries are coming back or anything else. Donald Trump the entire time is telling everybody to calm down. And I think he even put a post on Truth Social that said, bye. It wasn't a secret, but this is what you've been left with if you're on the left. You have conspiracy.
Well, he's about run his course. Back in the Kavanaugh hearings, he showed his true color and what he is capable of putting together as a lawmaker and in our legislative branch. He, along with Hakeem Jeffries, should be primaried the heck out of there. And why they're in the positions they are today is beyond my understanding. But I urge everyone that has to vote for these people to not vote for these people and let us get back to some sense of normalcy in the Congress as it was designed to be by our founding fathers, not these idiots that have taken over with chaos and misinformation and poor voting records on the issues that matter most to you, me, and the rest of the working American public, the legal American public, because it seems like they'll do anything in their power to help out an illegal entry into this country before they'll lift a finger to make your life easier or to lower your taxes or to get this big, beautiful bill signed out and on its way to the president's desk so this economy can take off like a rocket out of Iran. And that is the pure and simplest of the truth. But yet we have an entire population of people in New York City to be exact, that have lost their minds. Why do I say that? That's my hometown, and I'm almost ashamed to say so anymore. But this Mamdani guy that is a socialist Iranian with crazy, crazy ideas has gotten 40-some% of the primary vote against Cuomo yesterday, and it's almost unbelievable that a crazy socialist with ideas of doing away with the police department and putting out social service workers to a police society and give everything to the illegals and stop the deportation of criminal element that the city of New York was hiding and housing in great hotels in New York. At one time, great hotels. They've made a mess out of it. The city is almost unaffordable to go to work in if you live outside or Connecticut or the island or Jersey. To get into the city of New York now with this congestion tax where they've got cameras set up that you have to pay by the mile that you're going in there, or however they're charging you. It's unaffordable for the tradesmen to go to work. And a lot of the tradesmen that you see, operating engineers and the like, are not living in Manhattan because it's unaffordable to live in Manhattan. And we all know that. So this idiot thinks that he's going to be the next mayor. And I don't know who besides Adams that's going to run against him. Adams is now on the independent ticket. And I don't know if we're going to have anybody strong enough on the Republican side. And let's face it, New York City does not vote Republican very often. But there it is. I mean, these people have lost their minds in New York City, or not a lot of people came out to vote. And I find it very hard to believe that the black and Hispanic populations are going to vote for a socialistic government, because in some cases they have experienced a little bit of that with past performances by lackluster mayors in New York and the like. So I don't know how that's going to work, but let's look at this.
A stunning political upset. Former Governor Andrew Cuomo concedes the Democratic mayoral primary to Assemblyman 33-year-old Zohran Mamdani.
Mamdani surging in the polls in recent weeks, pulling off a victory that not too long ago seemed unimaginable for many. Eyewitness News reporter Phil Tate is live from City Hall with the latest this morning. Phil.
Yeah, Tanya, Pedro, good morning. What a night in what can only be described as a stunning showdown, and that's as Assembly member Zohran Mamdani claimed victory as he was able to come out in front of a crowded field of contenders, including former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who conceded just last night. Now, the 33-year-old Democratic Socialist touted a message on the campaign trail, pushing an agenda for free buses, health care, and more affordable housing, which gained traction with voters. But as Mamdani rose in the polls, it was clear he was a competitor for the former governor who looked to make a political comeback, but fell short. Now, last night, the Assembly member had started to pull ahead with more than an estimated 80% of ballots counted.
Tonight, we made history. In the words of Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it is done. My friends, we have done it. I will be your Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City.
You can feel that energy in the room there. And yesterday I was there with Governor Cuomo as he voted at a polling site. This was over on the east side. Now, he wasn't worried about the heat. He was rather encouraging New Yorkers to get out and to vote. He did appear confident as I asked him about the poll that had suggested that he was no longer in the lead. Well, last night he conceded to Mamdani, saying he ran a spirited campaign.
Tonight was not our night. Tonight was Assemblyman Mamdani's night, and he put together a great campaign, and he touched young people and inspired them and moved them and got them to come out and vote. And he really ran a highly impactful campaign.
So that brings us to talk a little bit about what's going on with regard to Make America Healthy Again. And there's a lot happening that the news cycles are not reporting anything about the accomplishments that RFK Jr. has already made and has come to fruition as far as getting these harmful ingredients out of some of the products that are being presented to us as foodstuffs for our children to ingest and you to ingest with these bad things in it, starting with food dyes and going right on to other things that are more harmful than the dyes to you that are being processed into your foods, especially these quick meals that you can get, which is all highly processed. The food, the crackers, everything is processed to the point where the nutrition is processed out of it in some cases. But RFK Jr. has made a considerate dent in making America healthy again. And my hat's off to him, because he's done it against a lot of congressional backlash from the Democratic side. One more time, again, fear, violence, be afraid of our violence if you don't go along with our way of thinking. And this is more and more evident every time you listen into any of these hearings that are taking place in and around either the committee hearings or the Senate hearings, whatever. It is starkly evident that anything to do with Donald Trump or his cabinet appointees will meet with massive resistance and ugliness almost. But let's take a look right here.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, but I'm sure you've been thinking about this. I mean, a lot of these are things that you've been saying for years now.
Yeah, and we're already doing it. I mean, we were already getting rid of the food dyes. We're changing the SNAP program so that, we now are handling a tsunami of applications by the states to give them SNAP waivers, so to get sodas and candies off of SNAP. We're reviewing the dietary guidelines, and we're going to have those out by August. And the dietary guidelines under President Biden were 453 pages, and they were basically a product of the same kind of industrial impulses that put Fruit Loops at the top of the food pyramid.
But you're saying in 60 days, people should expect to see concrete solutions of how these things can be solved?
We're already reviewing the GRAS standards, the generally recognized as safe standards. So we've done more in 100 days than my predecessors have done in decades.
Big food brands are making changes to their products as the Trump administration pushes to make America healthy again. So take a look. We start with General Mills. They're removing artificial food dyes from U.S. cereals and the foods that they send to our schools, K through 12 schools. That's going to happen by next summer. This is going to happen by the end of 2027. They're removing all artificial dyes completely by the end, like I said, of 2027. They make Trick cereal, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cheerios, Rice Chex, the things that are probably in your pantry. Also, Kraft and Heinz, they're saying goodbye to the artificial dyes by the end of 2027. Includes Jell-O, Capri Suns, Kool-Aid, and Crystal Light.
I just can't do it. I can't take this more, man.
Then the In-N-Out burger, they removed artificial dyes from strawberry shakes and pink lemonade, and they replaced it with the beet juice and turmeric instead. Their focus is on the red 40 and the yellow 5. Also, the high fructose corn syrup, they're replacing that with natural sugar. Then let's take Steak and Shake. Instead, they're using the beef tallow fat. We've heard RFK Jr. talk a lot about this. Instead of the vegetable oils to make their French fries, their onion rings, and their chicken tenders. And the tallow fat, it's still unsaturated, but it is a lot healthier than the heavily processed seed oils. Then all the spices in your cabinets. McCormick, many of those in my cabinet are made by this brand. Working to remove artificial food dyes and sodiums. Their focus is on the red dye number 3, which has been linked to cancer concerns.
Cookie? Make America healthy again.
Hush up, boy. On some of the accomplishments that are being put out, but CNN does not like what the answers that they get from RFK or anything to do with this particular cabinet, because they're not allowed to, because they are the propaganda arm of the DNC, which today is, like I tell you every day, is not our father's Democratic Party. It is the party of socialism, Marxism, hate, discontent, and a hatred for this country and what the country was built upon. So, that'll bring us for a small walk into Stupid Town. And we've got some things today, that satires to show you just how stupid things are progressing, especially on the left side of the aisle. And now we have 3 or 4 over on the right side of the aisle that have been seduced to the way of Satan one more time. So here we go with a visit to Stupid Town.
The whirlwind.
Matthew, I'm Sheriff Chitwood. I'm the guy you want to kill. And there's nothing I can do about it. Challenge accepted.
I sent you a sermon.
But you do know in Florida, a written threat to kill is a felony. Well, look, just so you know, I'm the one who made sure you came back, and I hope you enjoy your stay at the branch jail. I will also tell you that you will not see Mickey Mouse on this trip, and you have to reimburse us for your flight here and for your stay at the county jail. Why don't you look me in the eye and tell me why you want me dead? Why do you want me dead?
I am a Christian.
So am I.
You are not.
How do you know that?
Because in Corinthians it says bondsmen are not Christian.
Okay. Well, we're going to take you.
You are not Christian.
We're going to take you where you need to go.
Fine.
We will make sure the cell has rubber in it.
What a dumbass. Yeah. Dumbass.
What did you think of Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman in Iran?
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
My district in the great state of Texas is actually a white majority district that President Trump would have won by 25 points. As I said, I'm a direct descendant of a slave. My great-great-grandfather was born on a Rosedale plantation. I am literally being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. That's the progress because, like, a lot of white people had to vote for me. A lot. So I don't even ever want to hear Whoopi Goldberg's conversation about how it's worse to be black in America right now. That's a bit far. And my father, who's 75 years old, he was a man that was in the French quarters that had to go get a sandwich to the back door of the building. And his son is now a United States congressman in a white majority district in Texas as a Republican. That is America.
Not if you're black.
Guys, don't go to Quran.
We got to do something about the view.
Well, it's Wednesday, and that's going to pretty much wrap us up for the day today. We wish you all a very happy and safe rest of this Wednesday. If you have great weather to get out in, I know it is oppressively hot in the northern sections. I understand that it hit 100 yesterday in the Philly area and the New York area. But if you can get to a beach or out to a nice park with shade trees, get out and enjoy God's green earth. And remember, all adoration, power, and glory go to our Savior, Jesus Christ. And never forget that. So when you're out in that park and you're enjoying the weather today, say a prayer. say a prayer for our leaders and the leaders around the world. I understand that actually yesterday that Zelensky showed up at the NATO hearings and didn't wear the dirty sweatshirt like he shows up in our Congress and our White House in, actually wore a suit and tie, and he's asking NATO countries to provide him more money to keep his war going. So I guess you'll see that or have seen that. And with that, I'm going to say stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report. God bless you all. We'll see you back here tomorrow, Thursday morning, on the 26th of June. And until then, bye-bye now.
Excellent. Excellent.